All right, what's everybody doing this fantastic Tuesday morning? We're going to take a look at some assets here. We got Bitcoin pulled up on the daily and the 5-minute. We also have the S&P 500 pulled up here. You can see the S&P 500 just made a fresh daily high. Let's get over here on the 5-minute and see what it's doing. This line is just where the daily high was. That was put in at midnight. And you can see that you just traded above that. Bitcoin has not made a fresh daily high. The daily high on Bitcoin is setting over here roughly at it is exactly $19,702. This line right here is just from this bullish candle. The reason I have it up there is because typically they do act as potential resistance, being a supply zone. Typically don't like to see big supply zones like that. But you did take out the low of that candle, and it did act as resistance once there, and then yesterday. Not exactly expecting it to hold as resistance today. You can see that the point of control on Bitcoin's current daily range is near the bottom 1/3 of this box. So if like that's your midpoint, roughly right in there, it's underneath current trading price. That doesn't always mean that price is going to continue to go up, but it is good to know, because typically if you got like the point of control sitting at the very low or at the around the very high of the day, it could indicate a reversal for the daily range. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to analyze Bitcoin, what I'm looking for the rest of the week. But currently, if one did want to take a short entry on Bitcoin, this is about the area of which that I would do it. I'm going to come over here real quick to the left-hand side of the screen. You're going to see that I have this line, that's that daily, but there's also an old 2-hour resistance right there. This is considered a trap, even though you did close above it, simply because this candle took out the low of that candle. So when that ever happens, you revert back to the old resistance and then see what happens. On the last 2-hour session, you traded above it briefly and then closed under. And then on this 2-hour session, you got 49 minutes left. So you're going to have the open coming up here in about 20 minutes. And that'll be the last portion of the volume for the day. So a closure above this would have me more bullish on the day. So not really liking the short. It does look like it could end up being a short, but yesterday something important happened, and it happened while we were doing the live stream for the Discord. You can see down here that the volume is light today. You're just sitting at about 5.709K on the ask, and then 5.952K on the bid. So the bid is just barely winning the day out. So that's when you have that, it's just basically a typical range day. If you're looking for sellers, I would want to see it overweighted to the buy side, and I would like to see the point of control up here, because typically if it's overweighted to the buy side, meaning a lot of people are buying it and it's roughly around the high of day, then if you start getting a push lower, then those stops will start to get triggered, as retail, we know, loves to buy the high of day and loves to sell the low of day. Hang on one second. I'm trying to get the options pulled up. All right. That's not going to be on the monitor, but I do want to see what we got on the options tab when the market opens. We'll see what we got going on there. So yeah, I mean, this looks nice and bullish for the last couple days. The CPI print came out. We got a bearish read off of that on the day of, but then the next day that all was faded. So let me see here. Let's go back over to it. Right here was when we got the CPI print. Let's go ahead and do it to a 4-hour time frame here, so you can see it a little bit better. So this is when we had the actual number came out. You had a nice move to the downside. And if you remember, while we were doing the live stream, I basically said that I wouldn't be surprised to see it end up closing green on the day, to see the move be faded. And that's just because it was a better print. It was lower, but it was just 1/10 of a percent lower. That's not really what the market wanted to see, But with that being said, they did indeed end up coming back in and buying the market up. And that's basically what you got in bullish continuation was from this day. Now, yesterday, what we were watching and what I still am watching, to be honest, is the last weekly resistance level that we had, which was right there. Basically, we were watching to see if it stalled out here, and then we were looking to sell it, looking for price to go back down and get back into the red on the week. It's still early, it's still Tuesday, and this could indeed end up being the high of the week if the bears decide to pick back up this morning. So the only level that we have that is, as far as the daily level goes, is going to be that supply zone. So basically, if you want to look to get short, you're going to be wanting to fill or get a fill as close to 19,633 as possible. And then your stop could go above the high of day, which would be up there. So that would be a pretty wide stop. And you would need a new fresh low of day in order to get a 2-to-1 risk to reward. So that entry would look something like this, but on the bearish side. Let me go over here. Something like this, just right up there around the high of day. And like I said, you would need a fresh low of day or pretty damn close to a fresh low of day to get a 2-to-1 risk to reward. And in my opinion, it can happen. You can see how you are getting a slight bearish reaction off here. And this was your high of day on the S&P 500. So making a fresh high of day and stalling, although not necessarily uber bearish, you're bullish on the week, you're bullish on the day. So taking a short is going to be against the trend for the week. So the weekly trend. This actually looks good. So basically, if I did take the short trade, I would only be looking for this level down here, 19,443, as this is last week's resistance. And I would expect this level to potentially hold as support. So if we go back into the 4-hour time frame, you're going to see this was yesterday. This is what we were watching. Naturally, price shot up through there. You closed a 4-hour above 4-hour resistance and above weekly resistance. And then you had two chances, a retest there and a retest there to get long. That was typically the only place to get long. If you were looking for longs, you would have gotten long upon that retest. You didn't have to do it on this one, but you can't see into the future, so there's no way to know that the next 4-hour candle was going to give you another test, but it did. And you can see that was the last time you tested it. Pretty much traded sideways throughout the rest of the day into last night during the Asian session and the London session. Up here is going to be your London session. That is 3 a.m. So is that going to be the high of day? Well, we'll see. This is the hourly time frame, and you do have an hourly supply zone right there. So 19,646, that is literally what? $10, $13 higher than that daily supply. So this is the area where you would look for that short side to continue. If you do not take out this bullish candle's low, I think the short is going to be void or null and void. But what we need to see right now is we need to see bearish continuation, and we do not want to see an hourly close above this candle, above this price, which is 19,631. Same price as over here, but minus $1. An hourly close above that could be suggestive that the short trade isn't going to work. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll be live until 10 to see if that happens. The best thing that could happen for short sellers right now is to see this candle stretch out to about down here. That's what you would want to see. That would be a bearish reaction. So we're going to watch it here. I will take the short trade with you, even though I indeed am looking for a retest of this. And I will watch this price down here, 19,443, to see if that holds a support. If this does hold a support, then I'll be looking to get long based solely on what we've seen in the last few weeks. So going back over here to the weekly, you can see here 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. This is CPI. There will be your bullish target if this price holds. Now there is another level Let me mark this as weekly res real quick. The reason I'm not calling it weekly support is because it's resistance. The close of the bullish candles marks resistance. The close of bearish candles marks support. But oftentimes, old resistance can act as support the same way as old support can act as resistance. So this would have been weekly support here. You briefly traded under it for a little bit on the open of the week and then shot up. So it does kind of look like the weekly range wants to continue to the upside. Bullish target for the weekly range would be last week's high. You didn't take out last week's low either. So as of right now, we are currently trading inside of last week's range, which means it's a choppy week. All right. But last week was a pretty good size move. You know, when you get really good size moves like that to the downside and then back to the upside, you generally think that that's going to mark continuation. But if you fib this candle, and you have to fib it to the downside because it closed bearish, you can see that you're trading well above anything that you would be looking to take that short. So that's another reason why we were looking for shorts yesterday here. Once we got above it, everything changed. So my opinion, my professional opinion, is the trade is not a short today. The trade would be a long from down in this region if it holds as support. That is crucial. I wouldn't be looking to buy the first test of it because it has already been tested. But there is another level there, which was last month's close. Boom. All right. So we get rid of these two levels. You can see weekly resistance, last month's close, and the 702 Fibonacci retracement level right there. So we were looking for shorts right in all of that confluence yesterday. Right here. That happened, late, right? This was Sunday, actually. So Sunday, you traded up late in the day, got reversed all the way back down. So yesterday, in here, we were looking for short entries, but as soon as we closed above resistance, we knew we were probably wrong. This would have been resistance there. This closure here let us know we were wrong. This closure here really let us know we were wrong. So that short trade didn't work out. Instead, what happened? You broke out, you went well above it, came back in for a retest almost immediately, and that's been holding as support. This morning, we had a test of support here. 5 o'clock in the morning, you had a test of intraday support. That would have been the place to look for long entries. I missed the entry. Let me go over here and show you. But that's the way I would have wanted to go here. So I don't come to my desk until 6 o'clock. So this had already happened. So when I came to the desk, the trading desk, we were right in here on this, portion of price action. And I was looking for a retest of this price. So I had a buy limit setting down there with a very easy stop loss, just right under that wick. And it just didn't get filled. And here we are currently now. Like I said, I do not like the daily level that I'm talking about here. I do not like that as supply. When I'm looking for supply, I typically want the candle's range to be very small. Very small. But it was marked as a trap, and that's currently the price that you're struggling at. Intraday, you have a beautiful supply zone there. Right there. So that's where we are. That's where we are. That's currently what we're looking at. It's currently where we are. I advise against the short. All right. I got that laptop pulled up. I advise against the short, but it could work. I mean, that we never know what's going to happen, guys. Even professionals, we don't know what price is ever going to do. We just find these levels. We get a normal daily bias. Which direction do we think price is looking to go? Once we have that bias, we then look for high probable areas to look for trade entries. This would be a high probable area to look for short if indeed my bias was short. Now, one thing I don't really like the one thing I really don't love about getting long down here is that when you did get the retest, you really haven't went anywhere. You really haven't went anywhere. Today is a very, very small range day, and you rejected at yesterday's high. So once you took out yesterday's high, you had a bearish reaction. You traded back up without taking out today's high and rolled back over. But this could be a trap. Like I said, I was looking to get long to target this up here because I think you're going to see expansion to the upside, but I could be wrong. Now, overall, I'm bearish, right? Being a day trader provides me that freedom to where I can be bullish today and bearish tomorrow. But overall, on a longer term basis, like my macro view is, as long as you're trading under $19,985, I will remain to be bearish and looking to sell into resistance. I know it doesn't make sense, but I mean, smaller near-term traders understand what I'm saying, right? Basically, I can trade this long all the way up to there. And then that's probably where I would be taking profits and looking to move my stop. Yeah, we'll do Tesla. We're not going to be live very long this morning because I do not feel good today. Had a rough weekend. So we'll go as long as I can go, and that's it. And also there's really not, the market's not really jiving with what I want it to be doing either. All right. Hang on a second. Let me pause this. I got to sit this desk down. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. Now we're situated. Yeah, so as long as basically I'm down there, my macro view is still going to be to the bearish side. But here's the thing: this thing could act bullish and be bullish for a while before it decides to roll back over, and it may not roll back over. We just don't know yet. You can see that you just took out that swing high there. So yeah, today would have been a long day. It looked like it was going to be a short this morning. But you know, once this point of control started to gather up some steam down here, you know, I basically just decided to stick around. I did try to take a short entry on it this morning off that 2-hour level, but I immediately closed it because I did not get the reaction that I wanted to see. All right. S&P 500 analysis on it is it's range bound. We made fresh bear market lows last week. We then took out those lows, and that's why you've gotten a bullish reaction from that. And also, if you remember last week, I was discussing that when we had the CPI, essentially all as it did was it traded down and liquidated last quarter's low, which was there, Q3's low. And after you liquidated Q3's low, you got an immediate bullish reaction. That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised to see CPI get faded. I just wasn't prepared for that entry. The smart traders, you know, typically what I usually do is I would set a buy limit down there right under that low and just see if I got triggered into the trade. Because that's all the market does. The market is in search for liquidity. It runs old swing highs and old swing lows. So, you know, sometimes old swing highs or old swing lows are good spots to look for reversals. But it doesn't mean that you're going to see that bullish continuation last very long. It just means as of that point right there, that's a good place to take profits. So any short trader that got short for Q3 would have been taking profits at Q3's low. And that was Q3's low. Boom. And it happened in Q4. So now what we got on Q4 is a nice little move to the downside, liquidating Q3's low, and then a bullish reaction. If we go look at the quarterly time frame, you're going to see that you're a very small range quarterly, and you're just barely hanging off the open, or you're just barely hanging above the open for a little bit. And that open of the quarter also happens to be that monthly and weekly and 702 resistance. So I didn't even look at that, but there was another resistance level right there for that short, but it didn't play out. And today you've traded above it all day. So let's see what happens. A liquidation break strategy trade isn't something I think you should deploy today, simply because there's no news. Not that I know of. Let me pull that up. I'll pull it up on the other monitor as to not blind you guys. Yeah, there's no high risk news events today, so today's just going to be a standard trading day. Liquidation break trade just means when you liquidate the high or the low of day, you get an immediate reversal. That's just a signal of TD Ameritrade letting us know that the market is indeed open. So let's see, does the S&P 500 make a fresh daily high and roll over? It hasn't yet. Let's pull the SPY up over here, as it just opened with a nice gap to the upside. So it could be a down day filling that gap, but gaps don't ever have to fill. Please understand that. It's nice to know where the gaps are, but you don't always want to be trading for the gap fill. Did it just go up and liquidate the high? No, not quite. 37.65.40 is the high. 37.65.40. So you got two equal highs there on the 5-minute time frame. It's likely to run those. You do have resistance on the SPY here at 377.99. Let me pull up the options chain. Let's go 17 days. Today's Tuesday. Let's go 15 days out. Bitcoin's making a run above the daily high, or trying to right now. We'll see how it reacts when it gets up there. Bitcoin is also above hourly resistance. So that just means the supply zone on the hourly is no bueno. There was a nice little spike up, but you can see still didn't liquidate the high, as the high is 37.65.40. This is 37.65.20. So if you were looking for puts on the S&P 500, yeah, they're not that cheap. 2 weeks out, puts at, what is that, 377.97. So you'd be looking for 377 puts. They're in the money right now because price. There goes the liquidation of that high right there. So let's see if that's a rejection. The lower resistance level is 377.12. So you're looking at the premium on those puts is $8.17 at the money. That's 375, 859. So that'd be $800 for one put. That's 100 shares. for one lot or one put. Bitcoin hasn't taken out the high yet. S&P 500 did, and getting a slight bearish reaction. It's a 5-minute chart, so please don't. It is not a massive bearish reaction. Mr. Pepe is joining us. Let me go look at Tesla while we're waiting on that. I'd like to see Bitcoin make a fresh daily high and then kind of react the same. That's a pretty good sized gap. Tesla is gapping up a little bit today as well, getting a bearish reaction. But since it gapped up, people be trying to buy it. First and foremost, you wouldn't look for price to pull back. The old resistance, I don't know what this level is. I think that's an old. Yeah. Hang on, buddy. Come on, you do this to me every freaking day. So on Tesla, that's a weekly support level down there, 216.76. I don't know if you get all the way down there today, but that would be a spot to look for potential support. It looks like it held that support yesterday. So maybe Tesla comes down to yesterday's high and finds support, picks back up. Bitcoin not going above the high and still unable to get even a 5-minute closure above this. Like I said, this move is just more than likely going to be a pullback into support. Watch yesterday's high for Tesla for that to act as support. You start 221.85. I don't know if you get down there, but that's your gap. Yesterday's high to today's open is your gap. You filled half of it already. And a halfway point is a decent fill. S&P 500 right back up to the close of that bullish candle. What's up, Fresh? Good afternoon. Good morning, traders. Good morning. Good morning. Sorry I don't feel so great, guys. We'll push through this and then we'll move on. Well, hopefully Thursday I'll feel a lot better. I do feel a little bit better. There's your Tesla TA, just Mr. John. Watch yesterday's high. You want to see that act as support. I do not have any other levels to give you, unfortunately. There just isn't much. Give my internet a second to catch up. Yeah, even on the hourly. I mean, you have an old hourly res there, but you got a few of them here. So I guess if you lose 224.38, watch 221.85. And then see if that holds as support. If it does, you could potentially look for longs. Tesla doesn't look bullish. It looks like a pullback to me. I mean, that's a clear and obvious downtrend. So I would be looking to sell resistances more so than... But I mean, today you've broken out of the downtrend. Take that with a grain of salt. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to see more higher prices, but it could. Right? It could. Now we're back under that supply zone, testing it right now as... So if you did think that price is going to go lower, you could take the short now upon the retest of this. Stop. Doesn't even have to go above the high day. You can just put it right there. Because if it does eventually get higher, it's going to stop that out. And it'll more than likely go up and stop out the high of day. But it's just a supply zone here. And then you traded up to resistance there. That could have been another entry. But when we're trading above supply, we don't really want to, take the short entry, because in my opinion, if this was going to act as supply, it would have done it on the first test. We've seen so many times where the wicks just go to supply and then roll the F over. You know what I mean? Like instantly. There's a good example of this happening. I just don't remember where it was. Right here. See, like here. Right? There. That's supply. And you can see the wick. So that means this was all green as it was pushing. It looked like a gigantic, enormous, strong-ass bullish candle until it tagged supply. And then that was it. Boom, 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 boom. So that's what you want to see at supply zones. 4-hour resistance. What day was it? Friday. I had an appointment I had to go to Friday morning, so I wasn't trading with the Discord, but I told him before I left to watch 4-hour resistance. If it gets up there, look for short entries there. But Friday I had a bearish bias. And the trade ended up working out beautifully, but I don't think it closed red. That did a little bit. Yeah, it did close red on the day. So the 4-hour resistance test on that day was a good place to look to get short. We'll see if supply holds on the hourly. The 4-hour on S&P 500 looks like a pullback only. Your last 4-hour close was a good one. Remember on Tesla, you get down there, you could see potential support start to kick in. It doesn't have to be down there. It could find it there. That lower line is a weekly support. You could find it there or there, which that's pretty much that. So either one of these two prices might be support. Yeah, it'd be great if that happens on this candle. Oh, Bitcoin. Let me get back over on the hourly here. So this candle closes above. This candle goes well above. Then you get a bearish reaction. This was your entry candle. See how you wicked up to the supply candle? That's the point at which you would have been looking to take that entry. And like I said, you got an easy spot for a stop just right above that swing high. Profit target would be low of day. And the easiest way to find a low of day, put this box on right there. That's your low of day. That's where you'd be looking to take profits. Only if you're following my strategy, then you would take profits at hourly support. Right above it. And you have one here, you have one there. So 19,489 would be profit target 1. Then you would take profits, maybe you stop to break even, and then see what happens from there. Stop on Bitget would be 19,681. That would be your stop on Bitget. 19,681. Oh, sorry, 19,679 would be the stop. And profit target on Bitget. Would be around 19,467. So it looked like that, right? Entry, take profit, stop right there. Tesla didn't quite get to the support zone we wanted to see it tag. It still might. It's still early into the session. These little trend lines that I got going on over here, they're nothing special. I just cloned all the trend lines that I thought maybe you were getting reactions from. Reaction. Naturally, this traded well above it, so I just cloned it and used that as the high for a potential resistance, but you're not even in there yet. So yeah, something like that. SPY still pulling back, but not really pulling back hard. That's because the SPOOs isn't getting a big push either. It is a bearish reaction, but not really a huge one after liquidating the last swing high of the day. Ali says, or is it better to stick with Bitcoin? So let me go find. Would you trade Mara looking at Bitcoin? No. Mara and Bitcoin trade similar, but they're not inverse. The reason they trade similar is because Mara is a mining company. But I mean, it's just I trade Bitcoin on an inverse swap contract. If you're new here, welcome. But I take like a lot of people would just buy Bitcoin in a spot account and hold it, like on Coinbase or something, and that's all in well and good. But instead of buying Bitcoin with your hard-earned money, you can trade Bitcoin on an inverse swap contract. If you're good at trading, that is. If you're not good at trading, then I don't suggest you lose your Bitcoins. But if you have a pretty good handle on this trading game and you're able to consistently make profits, then I strongly suggest that you trade on an inverse swap contract with Bitcoin on exchange. So you don't put all your Bitcoins on exchange. You leave some in your cold storage. You put whatever you want over there, a couple hundred, a couple thousand, whatever is good for you. And then just use that money to trade on the inverse swap contract. So when you make profits, you get paid in Bitcoin. So then when you grow your inverse swap contract account to a significant amount, then you can take those profits and transfer them back to cold storage. So in a sense, you're making more Bitcoin in the bear market. So I'm accumulating Bitcoin as Bitcoin's going down, but I still hold my cold storage wallet. It's just a way to essentially hedge against the downside. And had you been, watching this channel back when everybody else was saying Bitcoin was going to $1 million in November 21, I was telling people that this is probably it. This is probably the top because the Fed is changing their monetary policy. Now everybody watches the Fed. Now everybody's watching the Fed's every move. Every retail person, I mean. Professional traders have been watching the Fed since 2008. Because 2008 is when the housing nearly collapsed the world economy. So the Fed stepped up, did something called TARP, bailed out GM, bailed out Ford, bailed out a shitload of banks. They were doing it to save jobs. They weren't doing it because they love Ford and they're in bed with Chevy, although that's how, normal citizens were taking it. Oh, government bailing them out because they love each other, because they put them in office. No, they were bailing them out to save billions of jobs. when your whole world is collapsing, the one thing you don't want is a nasty spike of unemployment. Because unemployment will cause hungry people cause wars. Hungry people cause wars. That's when people rise up against their government, when they're starving to death. That's what no government wants. So essentially, it was to save jobs. They called it TARP, but it was nothing more than quantitative easing. And then they did it again in in March 2020 when the pandemic happened. The Fed's just trying to get the marketplace back on letting it trade, let people invest in stuff on their own and not based on what the Fed does. But unfortunately, if you give a heroin addict free heroin, they're going to keep coming back. So it's time for the Fed to be the tough love. Look at that test of that level on Tesla. I mean, do you get any better than that? 224.01. What was the low on that candle? 223.93. So 7 cents. It doesn't mean it'll hold, but you know, that's how easy the analysis is. But yeah, I would just use the referral link. It is a referral link in the description for Bitget. There is something I want to say about this. A lot of U.S. citizens are now getting a pop-up. I got one the other day as well. It hadn't happened to me yet, so I was telling my members in the Discord to just not worry about it. And then I got one, so I asked my Bitget referral guy, and I will read you his exact words. All right, let me pull this over here next to the microphone. All right, I can't show it to you because I don't have Telegram on my PC, but I got it here on my phone. So these are my words. I said a couple of my U.S. members are getting an alert on mobile phone saying that they're getting a pop-up saying that, you know, U.S. citizens aren't allowed to trade. And then he answered with, if the U.S. users are happening to have this pop-up, all they need to do is click on I understand and use it as usual. In accordance with the requirements of compliance, we have added a pop-up window for IP restrictions in the United States. Closing this pop-up window will not affect your use. The pop-up is just to abide by and keep within U.S. regulations. Users can see, access, and trade as normal. Do not be worried. Those were his exact words. You take that however you want to take it. If you're a big conspiracy person, then you're probably going to take that bad. If you're not a conspiracy person, you're probably going to do what I do and just hit okay and move right along. I can't tell you to get a VPN and just use a VPN because that's illegal. What, baby? I wonder if I can get a VPN for you. Hide my ass address so you can't find me and bitch at me anymore. Come on. Come up here. Hang out with me. All right. So we're just kind of watching here. Tesla breaking down through the level. This is the actual level that I would rather see it get to, but I'm just saying it doesn't have to get all the way down there. And I'm just taking those levels from the daily chart. This would just be a demand zone. Once again, I don't like using big ass candles for demand and supply. But your old resistance is there. You can see here on Monday that acted as resistance there. So the breakout, maybe you come in and test this again, see if it holds as support. If it does, then the next days or 2 or 3, it moves higher. But it all depends on what the S&P 500 does because, well, that's a basket of assets. But there is a referral link for Bitget if you want to use it. They are licensed in the U.S. They have no KYC and all that. They are also the cheapest in fees than any other exchange. And they have, they have other perks. Like depending on how much money you deposit or transfer from cold storage, sometimes they will match you up to like $4,000. when they're running that. I'm not sure if they are running that right now or not. I just don't pay much attention to it, is all. I'm not the best referral out there, I guess. But anyways, yeah, make sure you use code XTSC, X-Ray, Sierra, Tango, Charlie. If you do indeed deposit some funds or some cryptos over there. You don't have to give them anything but an email. That's it. And you could be trading in 5 minutes. So simple. Somebody asked me if I was able to withdraw funds since I've been getting that, and the answer to that is yes. The answer to that is simply I moved over $7,000 off of exchange to cold storage yesterday. It's not a ton of money, but I don't keep a ton of money over there. I only put the amount of money that I can afford to lose on exchange in any given time. So I keep about 10K on there. When I double that, I take the profits and move them to cold storage or transfer it to cash if needed, whatever. But I only want to keep about 10 grand on exchange at once because I want to be able to still function day to day if something tragic were to happen to the exchange. And it can happen. S&P 500 pulling off now after making a fresh daily high. So there was a liquidation break trade on the S&P 500. If you bought those 377 puts like I was discussing, they are now worth $10.81. So that is over $200 per contract there. Not bad, not bad. And then on Bitcoin, it still has a ways to go before hitting profit target. All right, so this is a nasty gap here, but there is potential support here on the SPY. Potential. That doesn't mean it will be. Just might be. And then there you go. You put in a little 5-minute trap above that and you pulled back a little bit. Still not a big pullback. That's the low of day down there. And let's go get that weekly level and put it up there too. Because if it does happen to get down there while we are live, we can make some decisions together. Just put week WR for weekly resistance. Just so that way I know what it is. That's the profit target. Tesla getting down to the old resistance level now. So that's the level at which, you know, if I thought this was just going to be a pullback and the markets were going to start to be bullish, this is the area where I'd be a buyer on Tesla. Let's see how much cheaper Tesla's. They don't have 2 weeks. You'd have to go out to expiration November 4th. That's 17 days out. And I would be looking to buy 221 strike calls. And they don't have a 221 strike on this expiration. They got a 220 and then 222.50. So it looks like it moves up $2.50 per each call. Basically, it'd be looking to buy 222.50s. Those are 14.15, so that would be $1,400 a piece. or you would need $1,400 in your account to purchase that. Call. Tesla's a high alpha stock, so it don't take big moves to basically make you a winner or a loser quickly. All right, let me answer some more questions. Or how would I trade more? I would just trade Bitcoin. Yeah, just put a little bit of money. You don't have to put a lot on exchange. I mean, you can put $10, $100, $1,000, whatever's a little bit of money amount to you over there on exchange. But an amount of money, like I said, if the exchange ends up disappearing tomorrow out of thin air, then you just lost that money. I've never understood why people would put their life savings over on an exchange, a third-party application. Just put a little bit of money over there, because if you're a good trader, that little bit of money is going to turn into a lot of bit of money. And just do that and then trade the Bitcoin inverse swap contract. This way you're never going from cash to Bitcoin. You're just going Bitcoin to Bitcoin to Bitcoin to Bitcoin to Bitcoin. And then you can pay tax on the event if you transfer the Bitcoin back to cash. As long as it's Bitcoin from cold storage to KYC, it's not a taxable event. Tesla reporting tomorrow. Elon on the call apparently. Now I think he does every time they do an earnings report. Elon always. Every time I've ever listened to one of them, he's been there. Yeah. Is it really though tomorrow earnings? Yeah, sure no. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. If they're expecting a good earnings report, this could just be a sell the rumor, buy the news. But that's why the premium is so expensive on Tesla right now. Yeah, I thought that was a little bit expensive. Only 2 weeks out, $1,400 a contract. That's pretty expensive. SPY trading down to daily support. Kind of getting a bounce for now. Get better soon. I was ill too. Took me 2 weeks. Must have been a nasty virus. Yeah. I got other stuff going on, but it's okay. I'll be fine. Eventually, I'll get through it. Tesla has a quarterly support at 22 or 222.64. Sure enough, does. That's a good call, Michelle. That is a good call. Yeah, and it would look terrible if it were to break, wouldn't it? Holy shit, that would be bad. Because then the next area to look for potential support would be 147.46. It doesn't mean it'll get there, because like this one didn't and that one didn't. But they're potential targets. And it's a new quarter. So this could be just the very beginning move of the quarter. This would be a good spot to be a buyer on Tesla potentially. The good part about it, Michelle, is you can watch it you can just watch daily closes. I mean, what's it going to hurt to buy some Tesla right now? I mean, if we go back in the chart, you're going to see that daily resistance price is trading right back to it. That's the level that we found early before the market even opened. to potentially be a buyer. SPY pulled right back to, like I said, just support. We don't know if it's going to hold or not. Right there. But if it does, you have an upside target of 378. I know it's not a massive target, but if you bought 373 calls, that's $5. You'd be in the money by 5 places. That's a pretty good amount of money. And Bitcoin's not going down to our profit target, which is here yet. This is the level at which I would want to be a buyer if it holds as support. I need to see that intraday at least hold as support. But that doesn't mean that this is going to hold. Which one of those? Which one did you say it was? 222.64. Let's write that. Excuse me. Let's write that in there. Quarter support. Nice call, Michelle. Those bigger levels are the good ones to watch, because they might not get back above this level for a couple days, but this could be the level that people are starting to buy it. And you'll know that if you start closing dailies back above it. But then it'll be too late. So I would see what happens. Like, does it close down here and then keep going lower or what? Then the next day, does it get back above it? If it does, that's where I'd be looking for pullback entries. I mean, you could just buy it if you get back above it now, but you're relying off of intraday price action to make that determination or not. And Tesla intraday looks bad. I guess it's not too bad. You just closed the gap is all. It'll probably go a little bit deeper just to stop out people buying the gap fill. You'd be surprised how many people just bought as soon as you got to the gap fill. Oh, gap fill, I'm buying it. The market likes to make people feel pain. And then after they feel that pain, then the market goes back in their direction. How many times does that happen to you? It's happened to me a blue billion times. Oh, let me out, Papa. I don't know what that... Oh, Pepe the cat. Oh, my gosh. That is so awesome. Man, if you send me an email, I'll give you his picture. Here, let me do this. Boom. There you go. There he is. He went out through his door. He got tired of waiting on me and said, screw you. Screw you, human. I'm out. Peace. All right, we're dropping a ton of frames here, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Moving on to today, these are some good levels to watch. As Michelle brought up, you got quarterly support right there at 222.64 on Tesla. Maybe it's not today, maybe it's tomorrow or the next day, but that's the level where you might want to be a buyer moving forward if the S&P and Bitcoin and everything starts to become bullish again. On the S&P 500 or on the SPY, you got daily support at 373.20. Naturally, if you start closing hourlies below that, you might be looking for gap fill. Gap fill isn't going to be all the way down here because price traded through this. You can see on the move down here, you see this wick right there. So technically, the gap is filled, right? The gap is filled. But if you are looking for gap fillage, look for it to go to about 370. And then you're probably going to find support there. I think it's probably going to find support right there because that is daily support. You have upside target of potentially 378. Bitcoin, the price that we are watching relentlessly is $19,443.47. That is weekly resistance. And remember, there is a bunch of shit there. You got monthly, last month's close there. You got, what else was there? There was something else there. I've already forgot. A quarterly, I think. Yeah, a quarterly. The quarterly open is just under that by a couple dollars. And then you got that monthly there. So like if this is going to be the area at which I think Bitcoin finds support. If we lose this area, like if you close a daily back like well under it, I will be looking to sell that as a resistance moving forward, looking for lower prices. As long as we're above this, I think it's safe that we can look for bullish entries, but also keep in mind that the main support level that I want to see price get above before I can actually shift my bias to be bullish is $19,985. That's old monthly support. And that is big monthly support because it took, 3 months to finally break down. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at. It does look weak to me. It does look like it's still going to go lower. I still am more or less looking for the sell side, but that's that, right? That's the price at which I'm watching very, very heavily. So you could throw a box down there, something like this, right? Just like that. And that's the level we're watching and we're going to be watching moving forward. Anything under this, we're going to be looking for shorts. As long as we're above it, we can have a target up to 19,985, as that is old monthly support. So yeah, that's what we got there. Tesla, these are the prices that I think you should watch to be a buyer, at least for a bounce. You know what I mean? You could be a buyer for a bounce. I'm not talking long term. But if the market thinks that inflation is going to continue to trend lower, I do believe we're going to see some bids come back. And on that push lower, you did liquidate stuff all the way as far back as July 2021. So that was a nice move lower, and you're getting a bounce out of there. So I think this could be the level to be a buyer moving forward. Wouldn't be a bad idea. But you can watch today's close, see if it closes well under or does it close above it. If it closes above it, you'll have your answer. How to mitigate your risk on that, I don't know, right? I still wouldn't risk many percents on the trade as it is just a trade. Like no more than 2% on it. So put your stop loss as far as you can. That means your position size would have to be smaller naturally, but you want to give it a little bit of room to breathe because it could take a day or two to work before it starts to work. All right, let me just go through these questions really quick and then we'll wrap it up because I haven't been answering many of them, and then I'll go because like I said, I'm dropping so many frames at this point, it's just going to be dialing up it's just going to be like dial up internet. I got that. Get better soon. Read that. Good. Got it. Thank you guys so much for your concerns. Tesla has read that. Good job. Good call, Michelle. Michelle gets the star of the day for the fantastic call out on the Tesla quarter support. Good stuff. I love to see it. That means you're analyzing the price charts the way I do. And as you can see, it's a good way to do it. Pepe the cat, I sent that to you. That would be your picture if you did want to do that. Thank you for that. That's cool as hell. How long do you wait to see if support holds? 5-minute candles? No, I look at hourlies. Hourly closes under. It just depends on, like, if it's a daily support, then you got to wait on a daily close. But if your trade idea is right, price should bounce off of that pretty quickly. But if you're closing hourlies under it, then you gotta rethink the situation. But typically the best, in my opinion, the best chart to look at for intraday price action is the hourly time frame. If you could train your eyes to understand candles to where like all you got to do is look at an hourly and you know what's going on the 5 minute, you'll be so much better off. You'll find better entries looking at the hourlies. You'll know how to bail out. You'll know when to bail out of trades looking at the hourly. It's just a better time frame. It's my favorite time frame. It's the one I look at most when I'm day trading, right? I get my daily levels and then I look for hourly resistance and support levels close to the daily levels, because typically price will react better to the intraday levels as long as there's a higher time frame level there as well. Any thoughts on the US 10-year? Yeah, I mean, it's going to do what the dollar does pretty much. The dollar's pulling back, it will. If the dollar's going up, it will. That's about all my thoughts on it. I don't trade it, so I don't worry about it. Can you set 2 partial take profits on Bitget? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. They have a new order pane here. Let me go over here to the USDC side because it's the small account. I will pull it over here for you real quick and show you. All right, so here's the small account. I say it's a small account, so I got $500. I started the account with $200, so it's growing. It was one trade that did it. But anyways, moving on. How do you set a partial take profits? So let's just go ahead, drop the leverage down to 1x, as we don't want to destroy the account because I'm working on something with this account and it's real money. So I'll be able to show you all entries, all exits, everything, just to show you how successful the strategy really is. And then I'll just, go from there. But say I wanted to get short off of this supply right there. You just mark it in. You just say 2x leverage, 100% of the account, sell short, market, boom. I'm entered into the position. If I want to take profits at this wick, this is my first take profit zone. That price is 19,474. You drop right down here to take profit stop loss. Click that. And then you see it'll automatically put you over here. If you hit the price here, it's going to take you all out. You got to take profit stop loss in batches. So this would be for take profit only. You click the TPSL in batches, unclick this stop loss, unclick it. So now I would just say, I can't remember the price, but let's just call it 19,490. I would just type in 19,490, and then down here you would put in the percentage, and you can move this percent slider in 1% increments. So you could do 1%, 2%, 3%, all the way to 100% profits. That's what you're going to exit. I usually do 2/3 of the position size, so anywhere from 60 to 70% right there. Hit confirm, then there's your take profit 1. So when this price gets hit, that means I'm going to exit the position with 70% of the profits. If I want to hit a take profit 2, let's call take profit 2 19,430. The important part to remember about this is it's going to be on the remainder of the position. So once if the first profit target gets hit, you're going to only be in the position with 30% of the funds left. So now your second take profit will be how much percent do you want to take off of the remainder 30%? 19,428. Take profit in batches. X this. What was it? 19,428. I got a shitty memory. Boom. And then you would want to do how much of the other 30%? In this situation, I would do half. Right, 50%, take off half. Insignificant. Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe you can't take more than one at first. Maybe you got to let the first one get taken and then you can set another one. But I know you can because I do it all the time. I just don't ever have more than one take profit out at a time. So if your first take profit gets hit, yeah, you'll be able to take more profits. And that, you can set that whether it's a limit order mark price or market price. I don't think you can set it as a limit. You can set take profits and stop losses as limit if you use this side of the order pane here. So if you fill it out here, limit order, I want to enter here at this price, then you click this, and then over here it's going to give you this and this. I haven't tried it. I don't use this. I just mark it in and I use this stuff down here. But somebody did tell me that you can set this up for limits. Limit stop, limit take profit. So that way you're just getting charged maker fees and not taker fees, if that makes sense. But I mean, it's an easy platform. If you just use a little bit of money at first, a little bit of money, an amount of money you don't care to lose, you can play with this, all of this stuff, and eventually you'll understand it. I do have a video on the channel. All you got to do is find the Bitget thumbnail, and it goes over this stuff in depth. But they have changed it. They did an update not too long ago, and a lot of this stuff changed. So now I'm going to have to do an updated version of that video. But yeah, I mean, it's as simple as you can. I mean, it's the same as most every other crypto exchange I've ever used, right?